Hey everybody, so I have had quite a few requests on wanting to know how I make my cutoffs more feminine, I guess, rather than that muscle shirt 1980s hairband white trash look, which there's nothing wrong with that, I mean, come on. But this is how I make mine. So I have this sweet tie-dyed shirt that my niece gave me. You can't just wear this anywhere, so you might as well just wear it on the farm. But I either put it on or I hold it up to my shoulders since I kind of know where I like to cut them since I've made enough of them in my life. I hold it up to my shoulders, and then where I want that V-neck to end, I make a little tiny snip. And then from the corner of the sleeve in, say, a finger's width, I make another little snip. So I have a little tiny snip in the chest and a little tiny snip there. And all that is just a guide. It's just a guide. So no big deal. Always best to go a little bit shorter because you can always take more fabric off. So then I fold it so it is front facing out. And line my seams up as best I can. Again, these are farm shirts, so it doesn't really matter. So then usually what I do is, there's my little snip. Let me angle you down a little more. There's my little snip that I made. Make sure my back's sort of flat. And I go about 2 fingers width from that hard collar. Have that collar, a stiff collar, go about 2 fingers width, and then I cut in kind of a U shape, V-neck, whatever your preference is, down to that little notch that I made in the front. So I've cut that apron out. And you can tidy it up, whatever you want to do. I usually don't worry about it because it's raw edge, so it'll curl up as your wash machine makes it. So then from the corner edge, you put your 2 sleeve corners together. And again, you kind of do want to match your sleeve corners when you first fold it, just because then you don't have one side that's a little wider than the other. But again, to each his own. So from that corner sleeve, again, I usually try to make sure that I have at least 3 fingers from the U shape that I cut, because that gives you a nice wide enough band on your shoulder, and at least 1 finger's width, 2 fingers width from the sleeve, or roundabouts where your notch was. And I cut along the sleeve line, and I don't go much more than a finger's width and a half from that armpit seam. And what that does is it doesn't allow that big hanging gap that you get when you make just a plain muscle shirt. Plus they stretch out over time, so hold on to one of your sleeves. You'll need that again in a minute. So there you have the basic tank top. You can rock it like this, but what I do is I will cut the back out just a little bit more, clean up my edges. So then what I do is I take my one sleeve, I cut the armpits seam out, so it makes the sleeve the longest that it can be. I cut along the seam that would have been right here, like the edge, like an inch wide kind of thing. And then I stretch that so that I have a nice long strip. Then I take my sleeves, and I gather the 2 sleeves together from the back, and I give them just a little bit of a twist So this is my front. My back, I've drawn the two together. And then I take this string here and I loop it around until I run out of string. Then I do a baler twine knot. For those of you that don't know knots, that's a square knot. So you have your two ends. You take left, goes over, right, like you would your shoes. And then right goes over and under. So again, left, I guess that's your right. Left goes over, so over, right, right goes over, and then under, left. And what that does is it makes a square knot. For those of you, again, who bale hay, you know a square knot's how you keep your strings tied from one bale to the next. That is a very strong knot. It can't run out in your wash machine. Then you just kind of pull those two down. And now you have the V-neck front, the yoke in the back. Exhibit. Keeps the shoulders up higher. It keeps the armpits from doing that weird saggy thing. When you put it on the first time, it'll be a little tight. So you can throw it on. Actually, this one worked out well, but you can tug here to kind of get more loose out of it. And then you have your sweet white trash semi-feminine tank top. If you make one, tag me in it. Show me your craftiness. Show me what t-shirts you decide.